I told my mama I can't help it, I'm a dream chaser. She stay worrying about me, she gon' see you later. I wanna put her in a house apart from her.
Hey everybody, my name is Corey McKinney and this is my channel, One Step at a Time. I'm so glad that you're joining me today as we walk through week 2 of my recovery from ACL reconstruction surgery. Now, like I said, I'm in week 2. I just posted my week 1 video not too long ago. I hope you've been able to see that. If not, there should be a link right there or maybe right there. I don't know. I don't really know how to work YouTube that well yet, so it's going to be on one of those sides. If I can do both, I'm going to do both. So y'all get ready for that. If I can do both, we're going to have 2 right up there. But it's on one of these sides of the screen anyway. So you'll be able to see week 1 if you haven't been able to see that yet. Because what I'm going to update you on in week 2 is kind of gross. All right. I'm going to show you what my knee looks like without those big adhesive bandages on that you saw in week 1. Those got pulled off in my week 2 appointment, and I got to see some things that I was not ready for. So we're going to go through that, but I want to kind of get you to that point first. So after week 1, that Friday of my physical therapy, which was my second appointment, I had my surgery on Friday, April 28th. That following Monday, I had my first physical therapy appointment where I bent my knee for the first time. I saw the bruising and stuff like that, all the swelling that was around my knee. He showed me my workouts and things that I was going to do at home. By that Friday, he had set me some goals that said, hey, by your week 2 appointment, full hyperextension, and we want to make sure that you can bend your knee at 90 degrees. So by that Friday of week 1, so this is 1 week post-surgery, I was already at full hyperextension, and I was at 90 degrees. I got there one time. Not confidently though, but I was there, okay? And so that Monday though, by that Monday, so doing my workouts over the weekend, when I got to Monday, I'm getting 90 degrees confidently, all right? It's not necessarily easy by any means, but I can get there, all right? Got to warm my knee up, but I can get there. And so he was very proud of me. My physical therapist was. I was able to get to the full hyperextension like I was saying, which is exactly where he wanted me to be. And so my Monday physical therapy appointment went great. And he showed me some new workouts and stuff like that to do, and I've been doing them. And if I can get around to it, maybe have my wife hold the camera for me or something like that, or maybe get my camera mounted to like a good position where I'm laying. I'm trying to look at my couch now to see. I think I could do it. I'll probably walk you guys through what my workouts look like. And it'll be something to keep me accountable too, to make sure that I'm getting like the extension and stuff that I need to get. But you'll be able to see my workouts and see what I'm talking about, because some of them have actually helped my flexibility a lot. I said in the last video, I'm not a flexible person. I'm 6'4", 230 so pounds. And my entire life, I've never been like a flexible guy. And so retraining these muscles around my leg and retraining my knee to be more flexible than it's ever been, it's actually pretty interesting, and I kind of want to try it on my other leg too and see what happens. So I'm going to be working that other leg as well. But anyway, so my Monday appointment went great. My pain started to decrease. So this is week 2. After the end of week 1, my pain had gone down significantly. It was insane to me how much from Friday to the following Friday, my pain had come down. The Friday of my surgery, though I don't remember it a ton, I just remember how much pain I was in, how nauseous I was from the medicine and things like that. I just knew that I was hurting, and I could not see, in the future that it would be better than it is now. I was like, there's no way that in 1 week it's going to feel any better than this. Definitely not at the 2-week appointment. I'm still going to be a pain and things like that. But it wasn't true. By the end of week 1, I was to a point to where the pain was manageable. Though I was still hurting a little bit. It wasn't anything crazy. And so after week 1, I was like at a point to where I couldn't believe how much of a difference it had made. So going into that first Monday or that second Monday of physical therapy, I'm at the 90 degrees, I'm at the extension, all this good stuff. I'm getting new workouts. I'm feeling good. But I started to notice something. So around Sunday, going into that second Monday so starting week 2, I realized that my leg started to itch a little bit. We had already pulled my pain pump out a few days after my surgery. And so I had this little site where the catheter had come out, just a small little puncture hole, but it started to itch a lot. Right around where the adhesive bandage had been around that catheter, started to itch a lot. and I actually developed what I thought was just like a heat rash or something. The way my brace sets on my leg, and I'll put up a picture so you can kind of see that again, how my brace looks on my leg. The way that it sits, it's kind of close to where that side is. And so I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's just rubbing up against it and it's something that's out of my control, right? I just thought it was something like that. But it started itching like crazy. And it wasn't like an itch that once you scratched it, it went away. It was kind of like a fire ant bite, because when you itch a fire ant bite, like to itch it feels good, but it also hurts to the touch. And if you itch it too much, it feels like a sore, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so painful. Like I had barely even itched it, and it was hurting that bad. Like it was hurting. And I was like, man, this isn't normal. So I mentioned it to my physical therapist that Monday, and he's like, well, when's your 2-week checkup? I said, well, it's coming up this Thursday. And he's like, okay, well, when you go in there, tell them about it. If it gets any worse between now and then, just call them and tell them. I was like, okay. After that, I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep an eye on this. Well, I started to notice that my bandages where my incision sites were started to itch. And I was like, this is really weird because I can't scratch it. So like, I'm just trying to like rub the bandage, but I don't want to do too much because I know like I'm not supposed to get it wet. I'm not supposed to move the bandage or anything like that because I don't want to mess those stitches up, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't like having stitches. So I don't want them to have to go in and sew that back up, right? So I'm trying to leave it alone and let it do its thing, but it is itching so bad. By Wednesday night, it's itching enough to where I'm sweating, trying not to scratch. I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I don't scratch the top of my thigh and those bandage points. So I've got ice on it and things like that. My wife is doing a really good job distracting me with TV shows and things like that, and with things to do. I had some friends come over, and it was a really good time and things to kind of keep my mind off of it. I go into my appointment Thursday, and I tell my PA, the physician's assistant, I'm like, hey, look, this is what's going on. I've got a ton of like irritation, and my knee is itching like crazy. She's like, okay, well, we're going to get your bandage off. We're going to take a look at it. She's like, I see this right here. This might just be a heat rash. She's like, let's take your bandage off though and see what's going on. She was talking about the top of my thigh, but she wants to see my bandage. So when she gets down to my bandage, I'm like, look, do you see like this little bulb that's right here? It's like a little black spot on the bandage. I was like, I think my knee has been bleeding underneath the bandage. And she's like, well, that's not uncommon. You had stitches and sometimes those things bleed. She's like, you've been moving your knees, so let's get this off and see. It wasn't blood. Soon as she pulled the bandage off, we noticed there was something wrong. I actually had blisters, and I'm going to put a picture up of these. It's kind of gross, so if you don't want to see it, this is your 5-second warning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, there's the picture. All right. I have blisters at the top and at the bottom of both of my incision sites. So on the left side of my knee and right in the middle of my knee, both where those cuts were made for my surgery, at the top and on the bottom of both, I have blistered up sores from the adhesive bandages that were on my knee. And my PA's like, you might be allergic to the type of adhesive that's used on these bandages. These aren't normal Band-Aids. They're super sealed, super waterproof and all this stuff. These are not like your common ones that you can just go out and buy in a store. So she's like, you might have some type of allergy to this. I haven't really had an allergy to anything other than pollen in my whole life, and so this was new to me. And so she put it into my patient chart and stuff like that, and she's like, this is really bad, because it looked like, as you guys can see from the blisters, it looks like I had like a severe sunburn or something. And when I'm telling you, when she pulled those bandages off and those things hit fresh air for the first time, I was sweating down my back, preventing myself from scratching. That's how bad it itched. And when I went to itch it, I knew I wasn't supposed to, but when she walked out of the room, I couldn't stop myself anymore. I went to itch it, and the minute I touched it, it was so painful, and I couldn't do it. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here with my hands like this, and I'm just going to fight this, because this sucks. And so she came back into the room, and they put this new sleeve on my knee, which apparently I wasn't even supposed to have one. They were going to kind of let me go because my incision sites had healed well and everything like that. Just to clarify, there's nothing wrong with where my stitches were or anything like that. Those are not infected or anything like that. That's great. It's just where that adhesive bandage was. And so, in a normal situation, they would have removed this sleeve that had been on my leg that you guys had seen in that first picture, and they would have just kind of let me walk out of there, and for the first time my knee is exposed to the world. But instead I have this new half sleeve on because they don't want the straps of my brace rubbing up against this and making it worse. And so I'm on this cream that I have to have. I'm taking Zyrtec in the day, Benadryl at night, to fight this allergic reaction that I'm having. And so that's been like the worst part of my recovery. It hasn't been really the pain from my knee or anything like that. It's all manageable. I'm not taking pain meds anymore or anything like that. I'm just keeping ice on it, keeping it elevated, and so the pain's very manageable. It's just been that itching nonsense, and it's really been a pain in the butt, because if it wasn't for that, I feel like I would be kind of like normal on the pain scale right now, as far as where I'm supposed to be in my surgery recovery. So yeah, that's the real deal. Glad I got to share that with y'all, and glad that y'all are on this journey with me. Stick around, because I've got some reaction videos coming up. I actually found a really cool video on what they actually did to me in knee surgery that I can't wait to share with you guys. And I'm gonna be reacting to some other stuff too. And so stick around. If you haven't yet, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep working with me as I take you through my journey one step at a time. Until the next video, see you then.